Hi and welcome back. Yes, we're back here again. Now, just to check that you are in the correct maths team, this team is for pupils who have completed the full National 5 course and who would be doing revision over the next few weeks in preparation for doing their midterm assessment, which we had planned round about the mid to end of January. Okay, if you are not in that kind of position, that sounds not like what you should be doing, please get in touch over the email and we'll get that sorted for you. So as we said, you should be doing your midterm assessment towards the end of January. It might be that date might get pushed out a wee bit, we'll have to wait and see. But do remember, nothing has changed for us. What you would be doing in class right now and over the next few weeks is preparing by doing revision of your National 5 course, okay? And that is exactly what we are going to do over the next few weeks. So I will be running through some exam paper questions and then I will be setting new questions for you to try, okay? Today we're going to do some of the National 5 2014 paper 1. Remember, as we go, just like in class, if you were watching me at the board, you'd be taking notes as you go, or maybe you would watch through well and then stop and then take some notes towards the end, okay? So do remember, stop, pause, make some notes as you would do in class. Okay, do remember, try the questions at the end that I'll set for you, and you can get in touch anytime at all. Ideally, if you want to get in touch with me, do it during the time when you would normally be in maths. So today, Monday the 11th of January, that would be approximately around about 11 to half 12, okay? But don't worry, I know some people might be having a go at this at other times, so just get in touch whenever, okay? Right. Let's get started. Here we go. Right, okay, so as I said, this is the 2014 National 5 Paper 1, so no calculators allowed. So this is Monday the 11th of January. Oh, your writing goes really, really strange when you've not been writing for a wee while. Monday the 11th of January. And this is the 2014 Paper 1. Okay, right, so question 1, we've got a fraction question there. We have, this is a mixed numbers, we call this one, right? Ideally, I don't like the look of that. There is something I would want to do with that, and I would change the way it looks, okay? That's a mixed number, whole number 2 and 2 nines. I want to change that. 2 and 2 nines. Let's go over quickly how we change 2 and 2 nines. What we do is we want to just write it as a single fraction like that. We do 2 times 9, which is 18, and then add on the top. Okay, so the whole number 2 nines are 18, and add on the 2 at the top. So that gives us 20 over 9. Okay, so let's just go back to the question. So the question is 5 12s multiplied by 20 over 9. Now, we've got a mark already. Okay, by changing the format of that and writing that as a top-heavy fraction, that is 1 mark. This is worth 2 marks, okay? So 1 mark already. Now, what we're going to do is a multiplication, okay? Now, quite often we find that people just multiply straight across the top. 5 times 20 is 100, 12 times 9 across the bottom. Remember, it's non-calculator, so we make sure you're okay. What I would do is I would simplify first. If I can see anything at the top that can simplify with the bottom, I would do that first. And I can see I can do a wee bit of simplifying with the 12 and the 20. 12 and 20, we can divide them both by 4. 12 becomes 3 and the 20 becomes a 5. So really, it's much, much easier to multiply. See that 12 times 9 across the bottom? Yeah, okay, we could have set up a wee multiplication, no bother. But I've made it a wee bit easier. 5 times 5 across the top, 25. And on the bottom, it's 3 times 9 now. 3 nines are 27. Okay, now that would have been the exact same answer if I had done 5 times 20 is 100, 100 at the top, 9 times 12, 108 at the bottom, but 100 over 108 must be simplified. And some of you might get a wee bit confused trying to simplify that, okay? So I've made it easier by simplifying in advance. Okay, that is the correct answer for 2 marks. Okay, and remember, after each one, if you want to pause, take notes, or whatever you feel like, or watch it through, then go back, okay? Right, Next one, multiply out the brackets and collect like terms. Pretty standard exam paper question. It's a 2-mark question, okay, so I'm going to write it out a wee bit bigger. Right. You wouldn't need to write this out bigger, it's just me. Right, okay, 2x multiplies by 3x. And 2x multiplies by the 1. Basically, everything in that first bracket has to multiply by everything in the second bracket. Do not ever multiply the two things in the bracket, in the same bracket. Don't multiply them together. You do not do that. Okay? You rub that wee bit out. Here we go. Right, so 2x times 3x, that gives us 2 times 3 is 6, x times x is x squared, so it's 6x squared. And now it's 2x times the positive 1. Just remember, the wee sign in front of it tells you what it is. So that's 2x times 1. 2x times a positive 1 is a plus 2x. Okay? And now what we're going to do is multiply the negative 5. And again, I'll stress the sign, that subtraction sign, or I would think it was a negative sign. It belongs to the 5. So it's negative 5 times 3x and negative 5 times 1. Negative 5 times 3x, negative 15x, and negative 5 times a positive 1, positive times a negative is a negative 5. Remember, you're multiplying. I don't know how many times we see minus 5 plus 1 is minus 4. You're multiplying everything out. It's one of the most common mistakes. It's that term at the end. Right, okay, collect any like terms. There will generally be a couple of terms that go together to get your final mark here. The 6x squared is still 6x squared. You'll notice there's a plus 2x, but there's also a minus 15x. Positive 2, take away 15, is negative 13x. Okay, and don't forget the minus 5 at the end. There you are. Okay. Number 3, we're going to write this, our answer has to look like that, okay? Express x squared minus 14x plus 44 in this form. Our answer needs to look like something like this. See, when it's got a minus a and a plus b, it's not necessarily that you have got a minus number in the bracket and a plus number at the end. That is just a demonstration of what the answer should look like, okay? X with a number in the bracket and with a squared outside and another number outside. Okay, this is called completing the square. Again, don't worry if the name itself doesn't sound familiar, as long as you know how to do it. Right, so x squared minus 14x. This is one of these ones where your teacher, if it's not me, may have shown you a slightly different way to do this. All that matters is you get the right answer, okay? So just don't worry if you think you would have done this a wee bit different, okay? Just double check and make sure you get the same answer, and that's no bother at all, okay? 2 marks for getting the answer, that's what we're looking for. Right, so it has to look like an x with something in a bracket with a wee square. Do not forget that squared there. If you leave that squared out, when it's telling you up here, you need to write it in. If you leave that out, you'll lose the first mark, okay? Where this wee bit in the bracket comes from, where they've got the minus a, it comes from the minus 14. Now, we don't put minus 14 in here. We half it. We actually put in minus 7. I generally remember half it, okay? That's my wee thing to help us remember, half it. The next step is we actually do the square, okay? Negative 7, the number that we've just got here, half the 14, half the minus 14 is minus 7. We square that. Negative 7, when you square it, is 49. So we half it, and then we square it. 49, but what do we do with the 49? We subtract it, right? This is the method, this is the way we always remember it. Half it, square it, subtract it. Half it, minus 7. Square the minus 7, 49. You always take away that number. Doesn't matter, see if that was a plus 7 in the bracket. Positive 7 squared also gives you 49. You still subtract it. And don't forget this wee plus 44 is still part of the question. The final answer for 2 marks is x minus 7 in a bracket squared. Collect these two together. Negative 49, add on 44 is negative 5. You're basically getting a mark for this part, and you get a mark for that part. Doesn't really matter what method you use, that is the answer. And I know some people might even do it without working. In this case, you get the answer, the full marks. Right, that's it. Right, where are we next? Next one. Find the resultant vector 2u minus v, right, okay, 2u minus v. Basically, we're subbing these in, okay, 2u, this is u. So we're going to do 2 times that. So we're going to do 2 times this one. You don't actually need to write this down like this. I'm writing it down, okay, you can go straight in and multiply it by 2. So we're going to multiply this first one vector by 2. By multiplying it by 2, that number 2 at the front, we multiply all the components, all the numbers in the bracket by 2. So it gives us a minus 4, it gives us a 6 and it gives us a 10. That is a 10. Oh, looks like a dodgy 10 now, looks even worse. Let's see if I can make it look a better 10. Here we go. Right, and now we're going to subtract the vector v. Okay? So, top, take away at the top. Negative 4 take away 0 is still negative 4. 6 take away negative 4. Be very careful in the middle. 6 take away negative 4. If you take away a negative, you actually add the number on. 6 plus 4 is 10. Oh, that's a good 10. And then at the bottom, we've got 10 take away 7 is 3. And there we are. That is a negative 4 at the top. Okay. Number 5. Right, okay. Right, okay, here we are. Right, so we've got Km is here, it's 18 sine K, right? Okay, they're mentioning sine, right? What involves sine? Sine and cosine. That's our trig formulas, okay? Something to do with trig. So we're told what sine K is, we know this, okay, that's what K is. Sine L is something to do with this angle here. When they write sine L and sine K, that's to do with the angles, okay. What are we trying to work out? We're trying to work out LM, which is a line that goes from L to M. I'll call it X, okay. Sometimes they might put a wee letter on it, sometimes they don't. Right, okay. So when you're doing trigonometry, you've got your sine rule and your cosine rule. I should have had the wee formulas here. I have them somewhere. Oh, hey, let's see if we can do this. Oh, there's a go. A wee bit of magic. Here we go. Ta-da! How's that? Right, okay, down here, so we've got the sine rule and the cosine rule, okay? Now, the way I say we should decide which formula to use is we can only use the sine rule if we have a side, 18, and the angle opposite. Right, okay, there's not an angle marked in there, but we know sine L, we've got it here, sine L is 0.9, so we actually do have L, okay, that angle up there, we know something about it. So it's the sine rule, we can use the sine rule, we've got an angle and a side opposite and we know the information, okay. So we're using the sine rule, A over sine B, A over sine A even, A over sine A equals B over sine B. If we did not have an angle with a side opposite, a matching up pair as sometimes I call it, we would not be able to use the sine rule and would have to use the cosine rule. Right, okay, just remember in this formula, the top, the wee letters are the sides, side lengths, okay? Capital letters on the bottom are to do with the angles, okay? Right, and I would always say, and we don't need all 3 parts, we don't need C over sine C, okay? We're only looking for a matching up pair and another ratio as well. Right, I would always say, put X, the one that we're trying to work out, on this left-hand side of the formula, A over sine A. Now, what is X? X is a side, so X is at the top. And underneath, it's sine A is angle A, but it's sine K, right? It's not sine A, it's sine K. On the other side, B is a side, okay, side B, which is the one that we do know. And at the bottom, it's sine of angle B, but it's not sine of angle B, it's sine L. Okay, we actually know these sine L and sine K. I'm going to put the numbers in. So really what we've got is X over 0.4. Okay, sine K is 0.4, that's up here, it tells us, is equal to 18 over sine L. Sine L is 0.9. Right, we're running out of space. I'm going to get rid of this wee formula list. Delete. Yay, there we go. So, we're nearly there. Right, so what we've got here is X equals, I'm just going to bring this up here. So we've got X equals, we want to find out what X is. I don't want this 0.4 here at the bottom, okay? We want to change this equation so that we've just got x on its own. That 0.4 there is sitting at the bottom of the fraction. That is a division by 0.4. The reverse of a division by 4 is to multiply the other side by 0.4. Okay? So x is equal to, remember this is non-calculator, right? 18 divided by 0.9. Now, I know that 18 divided by 9 is 2, right? But that number is a tenth of 9. 0.9 is a tenth of 9. So we're actually looking, if we're dividing by, see if it was 18 divided by 1, right? The answer would be 18. 18 divided by 0.9 is actually 20, right? You're dividing by a number that's 10 times lower, your answer is going to be 10 times higher. So 18 divided by 0.9 is 20, and we need to multiply by 0.4. 20 multiplied by 4 is 80. 20 multiplied by 0.4 is going to be 8. Centimetres, metres, angle, make sure you put your units. It's a length, it's in centimetres. Okay. Right, okay, number 6. This is a straight line graph. A straight line graph is actually a scatter graph. It says point A, it's all about the amount of fat and calories in a burger. Part A is looking for the equation of a line, okay? The equation of a line. To find the equation of a line, as soon as you see that words, the words there, equation of a line, you should be thinking y equals mx plus c. That is not given on the formula list. You should know that. As soon as any equation says equation of the line, that is what you should be thinking. Right, to work out the equation of a line, remember m stands for the gradient, c is the y-intercept. The gradient, well, we're going to have to work it out here. Right, what's the information? Here's the information here that we need. It says point A has 5 grams of fat, which means grams of fat is across the way. Basically, they're telling us the coordinates. So point A is 5 across. There's a 5 there. Oh, that's not the 5 there. That'd be number 5, 200. That's the coordinates of point A. Here's the coordinates of point B. 25, 500. I'm now going to work out the gradient, which is our value for m. To work out the gradient, remember, it's, again, another formula that you should know. Difference in the y values or the verticals, y2 minus y1, over x2 minus x1. You must know that formula, okay? The ones that are called 1 could be point 1, we'll call that point 1, x1, y1. And this we'll call this point 2. So this is x2 and y2. So subbing these numbers in, y2 is 500, take away 200. Over x2 is 25, take away 5. So really what we've got here is 300 over 20. Right? Remember it's non-calculator, take a 0 off top, 0 off bottom. It's 30 over 2. 30 divided by 2. 30 over 2 is 15. So our gradient is 15. Now, so that's our m value. It's going to be 15. The c value, so let's just have a wee look. Our equation is y equals 15x plus c. We don't know what c is. C generally, I mean, it's the y-intercept. I don't know what the y-intercept is. We can't read it off. See if you had an equation of a line question where you could read off the y-intercept very clearly, that is the value of c. You would just put that in. But in this case, unfortunately, we can't. A nice, simple, easy way to do this. There's actually 2 ways of doing this. If you have another way, you try it that way and just double check you get the same answer, okay? But for this question, the easiest way to do this is take a point, x and y, and sub it in. I'm going to use this point, x and y, and I'm going to sub it in, right? So y is 200. 200 equals 15x, remember, means 15 times x. 15 times 5. So I'm taking the point 5, 200, and I'm subbing it in. Right, so what we've got here is 200 is equal to 15 times 5. I mean, it's now non-calculator, but the numbers are pretty straightforward. Do a wee multiplication sum if you can't do 15 times 5 in your head. We're no bother. Right, 15 times 5 is 75. 75 plus c. What is c then? I mean, it should be pretty straightforward. 75 plus c is 200. C is obviously 200 take away 75. So c is 125. Okay, I'm actually going to go on to the next page just to finish the question because I haven't actually given the correct format of the equation. I've got M, I've got C, but I really need to write it down as an equation. So let me just take this over to the next page. We'll do part B in just a wee minute. Okay, so what we've got here is, what was it again? Y equals mx plus c. M, we've worked out it was 15, and C was 125. Now, you'll notice the question said, write the answer, or write the equation even, in terms of F and C. Our equation currently is sitting with a Y and an X in it. C is the Y-axis, and F here is the X-axis. So F is on the X-axis, and C is on the Y-axis. These are capital letters, okay? You really should be putting them in the correct format. So the Y was a C, equals 15, and the X I think was an F, wasn't it? Yes, I'm pretty sure that's what it was. And there we are, that's our equation. Okay. Part B, a super deluxe sandwich contains 40 grams of fat. Remember, fat is what we are using for the letter F. Use your answer in part A to estimate the number of calories in this sandwich. So we've got our answer. See the equation for part A. That's our equation. So, we're trying to work out C. We know F. F is 40 grams of fat. Really what we're just doing is subbing in F. Subbing in F is 40. Remember 15F means 15 times 40. And again, 15 times 40 is 15 times 4 with a 0 at the end. 4 5's 20, 4 1's 4, 5 6. So 15 times 4 is 60. Yeah, that is a 0. So 15 times 40 is 600. Add on 125. So the answer here is 725 to be sub in. That question is a pretty standard question. It's done the exact same way, and part B is generally sub in the number. Okay, 725 what is answer the number of calories. You won't lose a mark if you don't write calories. We're fine. Okay.